Hello, today I will be talking about the Fair Information Practice Principles, and my name is Dylan Johnson. Today we'll be covering what is the Fair Information Practice Principles, or FIPPS for short, how does it compare to other laws that are similar, and how FIPPS can be used to protect PII in a federal agency. Fair Information Practice Principles is a framework for privacy policies. It ensures information is only collected and used for specific, precise, and limited purposes and that remains accurate and secure. The individual has a say in how their data can be used, and those that collect data are accountable for that data. And individuals that collect data are subject to regular audits to ensure that the framework is being implemented the right way. So, what is FIPPS? It divides up into 9 different categories. The first one being transparency, where the business company or agency has to be transparent on how they want to use your data, and the information policies and practices that is respected to your personal information. And they need to be clear and have notice about how they're going to use your data, collect it, and store it. Individual participation. Agencies, businesses, companies should involve the individual in the process of the PII, or personal information. And they should seek the individual consent for the creation, collection, processing, and storage of the PII. Agencies should also establish procedures to receive and address any issues or complaints or inquiries that you have about how your data is being used. Authority. So, agencies, businesses, or companies can only use, collect, or create data with your authority. If they don't have this authority, then they cannot do anything with your data. And they should identify this with the appropriate notice that purpose, specification, and use limitation. They have to specify how they want to use your data, create it, store it, or process it. If they say, we want to use your information for research purposes, they cannot sell your information for ad revenue. Since they didn't say they will use it for ads, that is off the table and they're not allowed to use your data for that. Minimalization. They should collect the smallest amount of data that they need. If they don't need your social security number or your credit card information, they shouldn't collect it because there's no reason why they need to know it. Quality and integrity. If you trust the agency to put your information in there, then the information that you pull back out should be the same information that you put in there with no changes, without your consent. Access and amendment. Company, businesses, agencies should provide individuals with access to their own information. Since it's your information, you should always have the capability to access your own information and be able to amend your own information because it is your data. Security. Since you are trusting this company, business, or agency to store your data, they should in turn protect your data from any kind of hacker that wants to unauthorized access, dissemination, or deletion of your data. It's the agency's responsibility to make sure that your data is properly protected according to regulation. and accountability. The agency, business, or company should be held accountable to these policies and principles, and they should properly monitor and protect your data at all times. And if they do not follow these regulations, principles, or policies, then they should be held accountable for your data being stolen, sold, destroyed, or unauthorized access to. Similar to privacy policies that you can find on the state side and on the international level, FIPPS makes it to where your privacy is protected, transparent, and you have the ability to revoke it at any time. And all these information can be found in the California Consumer Privacy Act and the General Data Protection Regulation. Another similarity that FIPPS has is it matches a lot of the different types of privacy policies that the Fair Credit Reporting Act, Privacy Act of 2020, the California Consumer Privacy Act, and the General Data Protection Regulation. It has similar aspects to all those. So making small changes to any policies or regulation allows the business to meet all requirements with the least amount of changes. On the federal agency level, how it protects your PII. As we mentioned before, it requires information to be transparent. The federal agency cannot collect the data without your consent, and they should only collect data that they need. And then they also give the consumer the full right to delete any data that they want. Since it's your data, you have full control over it, and you have full control over what they have it and how much information they have. And on the other side, it requires them to have heavy security to protect that PII, and it must fulfill the requirements or they don't meet compliance. Thank you, and have a wonderful night.